To order, even though we're missing a couple folks. Okay, now I'm going to call this to order again. Welcome to our facility. Welcome to all of our partners that are here with us so far this morning. We have a couple that are running late, but they're council members, so they're entitled to it, I guess. John's coming in right now. He's an attorney, so he's entitled to it twice. What we're going to do to start off is our meetings are on tape. That's why we have microphones. We're kind of in a strange seating assignment. That's for the school board folks.
Oh, thank you. Seating charts.
We're in a little different seating arrangement because Scott's got some slides and things he's going to show you as part of our presentation. Morning, John. The first thing I'd like to do is just go around the table, introduce yourself and which agency you're from, and we'll start with Vice President Jim.
Jim Ferryman, Costa Mesa Sanitary District, Vice President.
Tim Holcomb, I'm with the Newport Mesa Unified School District.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mesa needs to be repped.
Absolutely. Newport Mesa Unified School District. I'm the Chief Operating Officer and Assistant Superintendent.
Charlene Matoye, school board member this year. I'm the clerk. Woohoo.
I'm Buck Mejia, I'm the City of Costa Mesa City Engineer. Dean Bora with the City Public Affairs Manager, Tin City for Tom Hatch today.
Acting city manager.
Or
Designated survivor.
Oh.
That's me.
Hey, he's a Dodger fan. He's a Dodger fan. You'd expect no less. And they did not lose again. The Dodgers didn't lose again last night. Just want to remind you. That's no problem. John, you go ahead. You were
Oh yeah, no, I just got here. Sorry.
No worries.
John Stevens, City Council of Costa Mesa.
Director Uden.
I'm Director of Costa Mesa Sanitary District, Assistant Secretary.
Which is better than clerk?
Oh, I don't know. I get to sign stuff.
Oh, yeah, at Orange Coast, they introduced him as the CEO of the sanitary district.
Fred Bachmiller.
Don't interrupt, Fred.
Fred Bachmiller, Mesa Water, representing Division 1, the west side of Costa Mesa, the part of Costa Mesa that's future. Asthma so bad it can't get better.
Hey, listen, that's where Art and I grew up, so
Yep.
we're West Side kids.
That's good.
Jim Atkinson, Mesa Water District. I'm currently president of the district.
Great, thanks, Jim.
Paul Schoenberger, General Manager, Mesa Water District.
Scott Carroll, General Manager, Costa Mesa Sanitary District.
Mike Schaefer, President of the Costa Mesa Sanitary District.
Arlene Schaefer, Secretary on the Sanitary District and Director.
Art Perry, Director, Costa Mesa Sanitary District.
Great. Thank you all again for attending. We have a little bit of a change to the agenda, if you all don't mind. John has to leave a little early, so we're going to move item 8 up to the beginning. Is your new director coming this morning?
She is not, but
Okay.
we
You want
have
to go ahead and do that? Yeah, let's do that
I'll
first.
just hand out a quick bio here. And our past director, Ethan Timienka, moved out of the city. He had his business elsewhere, and he needed to be close to it. So with that, the board took the opportunity to go through a process to appoint a new director. And so what we did was send a postcard out to every resident in that division and encouraged everybody to apply. We got 16 applications. The board spent an entire day interviewing all 16 of them, narrowed it down to 7, brought them in for a second day, and selected Maris Di Pasquale. And she's going to be fantastic. I've put out a little bio here. She was sworn in last night at the board meeting. And she is pretty active in her circles in Costa Mesa, does a lot of work for St. John the Baptist, and has her own public relations firm. So I think she's going to be a great addition to the board. And I'm sure you guys will all be meeting her at various events very soon.
Very good.
So it's Maris, sort of rhymes with Paris, Di Pasquale.
Very good. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
So, do you want to take the lead on this item 8?
Well, sure. I mean, it was, thank you for letting me bring it up, because I've got it split to go to mediation. But this is just to kind of bring back to the table something that Jim Ferryman brought up at our very first meeting when we all got together earlier this year, which is to explore some solutions for a safe public way for people that are either homeless or they're not around a bathroom or a private bathroom to go to the restroom. And Jim just passed. I just saw that the heading outhouses are better than no outhouses. I mean, we hear people that are involved in social media and people that just hear from the community hear that we actually have a problem in our city, not unlike many other cities, where people are actually going to the bathroom in public, and that's not good. I've said before, there's really only 3 places that somebody can go to the bathroom: a public toilet, a private toilet, or the great outdoors. And the great outdoors is really not a good solution for our community. Private toilets put pressure on our businesses, and that's an issue for our tax base and our community. And then public toilets historically have had an issue in Costa Mesa where the way that places where they've been and the way that they've been constructed have been attractive for crime. For example, we years ago shut down the public restroom at Wilson Park. And I think it was about 4 or 5 months ago that Jim and Tom Hatch and I went and we looked at some of these toilets, including Wilson Park. Wilson Park is like, if you could create a public toilet that would be the absolute worst design, that would be it. I mean, it's dark, the cinder block walls go all the way up to the sky, and there were a lot of problems in there. Recently, for about 2 weeks, after when we were fencing off the Lions Park project, there was a little portion of the Lions Park project that was fenced, and we had the bathroom by the Lions Park, the Airplane Park open. And that did create a problem, a major problem, because it's like a piece of pie, and it was just a little like pie-shaped grass, and it was a little encampment that was being created. And I think that, as we see in Santa Ana, and I spent a lot of time in Santa Ana during the court, there are 400. I mean, have you guys been in Santa Ana?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. There's 400 people that are camping permanently. It's creating a real problem in terms of access to justice. And then, of course, there was a lot of news lately because of the problem on the River Trail in Anaheim. We're trying generally to avoid that, and in the main, we have done a good job in Costa Mesa avoiding that. So that's why that's a long-winded explanation background. We shut down that piece of pie. So we don't have that in Lions Park anymore to avoid encampment and some bad stuff going on. That doesn't mean that we still don't need a solution for people going to the restroom. So my kind of idea that I want to throw on the table and get your reaction to is getting together as districts, hopefully the 4 of us, that would be lovely, but as many, and having some type of a pilot project where we invest in 1 or 2 public toilets, and Jim has done some research. There's the thing called Portland Loo, it's got louvers and it's stainless steel, and it's generally speaking not going to be as much of an attractant to crime. And look for public places where we could locate those that would be useful but not an attractant to crime, and not in a park. I think everybody thinks, well, we don't want to do that because we don't want public toilets in parks. I don't want them in parks either, I think. But there's plenty of public places that we, as the 4 districts, own that are not in parks. And the idea would be to improve the sanitary problem we have, and also to draw people out of places where children are, or parks, or things of that nature, and actually solve that problem. So I thought I'd throw it in. It's Jim's idea, but in light of what happened in Lions Park a couple of weeks ago, I thought it would be a good time to revisit the idea.
You know, the one problem with parks, as far as I'm concerned, having 7 grandchildren and those of us that have raised children, we take our kids to the park.
Right.
And kids probably need restrooms worse than, so you've got a kind of a conflicting situation with, you don't want the restrooms there attracting the one side, but at the same time, you have children, you know what it's like when a 4-year-old has to go and there's no place to go.
Right.
So
That is true.
there's going to be a challenge there because we do need restrooms in some parks for kids.
Question, maybe for the city folks. What time of day do the parks close? They close at sunset? We're tolerating, most people sleeping overnight, that's not the issue. I'm talking about just officially, what time do the parks close?
They do, most city parks close at sunset. There are some parks, sports parks, that remain open if
Okay.
they are lighted.
If they're lighted fields and
Right.
games scheduled, that kind of thing. So where I see this is, sounds to me like solving the problem. Public restrooms, 4-year-olds gotta go, and I was thinking about this, you do need public restrooms, and they're probably a better design. I've seen the one at Wilson Park, it's pretty scary.
Yeah.
But there are better designs that can be had. But it sounds to me like they have park rangers, 6 o'clock, whatever sunset goes, restrooms get locked, daytime, restrooms are open. And I mean, and then there's some issues with policing, but aside from that, I do kind of like the idea of facilities. An individual living with diabetes, you occasionally need to go. And it's, you gotta find a place. And so I know where those places are now, but the thing is, you don't have restrooms, and there are people living in the homeless community and other communities that have reasons why they need to go to the restroom. Now, there's other people who shoot drugs at the restroom, I know that's a problem, but that's not what I look at. What I'm looking at is, can we accommodate everybody who might need one?
John, Jim,
Yes.
either one of you, have you talked about or discovered how much we're talking in price-wise?
You know, there's a wide range. In fact, I distributed this
Yeah, saw that.
flyer. I don't know if you've looked at it,
I
but
did.
there are so many different types of restrooms out there that, you know, we could use. And I think that that's gonna, the type of restroom that we put out there is gonna dictate whether or not, you know, foul things are gonna be happening there. I mean, like the one you mentioned, and you know, in Europe and in other areas, they have a million of these things, and you know, like well, I can't show you this one, but this is really a simple. You know, it doesn't have to be that elaborate. I mean, we can tone it down and have it be safe. So, but I think we need to you know, review different types of these facilities and come up with the one that's going to fit. And maybe they don't all fit in the same park. Maybe it's a different for some reason, but I think that this is something that we need to provide. And you know, like Mike said, I mean, you know, you go to a park with your family, and you know, something's got to give. So.
In a memo that was drafted, I think Jim may have commissioned it earlier this year. The number that was put in there was $100,000 for this one particular unit. $100,000 to purchase it, and about $50,000 to install it. And then, of course, obviously there's maintenance costs. So, I mean, I don't know what would be a good next step. I mean, I guess I threw it on the table to see what reaction I get. Generally, I'm hearing positive reaction. Does anybody think it's negative or something that you would want your district to participate in? If I'm not getting a lot of negative reaction, then I think, yes,
this unit they're proposing, does it have plumbed water supply to it, or just,
It has what?
does it have plumbed water to it? You know?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not a chemical type toilet like you might see in the forest surface or something.
This,
The one that I saw has the sink actually outside of the toilet. So
Yes.
it actually,
That's the right place.
yeah, that helps it
Yep.
in terms of attractiveness.
You know, I think the first step should be that if we all go back to our places where we came from, the districts or whatever organizations, and put it on the agenda. And then see what the reaction is there, because that's where it starts, you know. And then once that's established, we can come back at the liaison meeting and be able to say, okay, maybe we need to put together an ad hoc committee to have a presentation of all these things so we don't have to sit here forever. And, you know, I don't mean it wrong, but, you know, at the same time, there's a lot to discuss on it.
I don't think, I think we all like, I like the idea that there would be a facility available for everyone. The elephant in the room is, if you build it, will they come? And do we want to move the population, the undesirable population around the city to wherever now there have facilities there? And I don't have an answer. I'm perplexed by the dilemma that faces all of us with our homeless population and our disenfranchised population. It's a struggle. It's the I want to be safe and I want to be human at the same time, and it's tough. And so that's the dilemma. But I don't know anyone that wouldn't want someone to have a bathroom available for them if they need it. It's tough.
Yeah.
Councilman, suggestion, how about if we, or the city, task this objective to the city's Network for Homeless Solutions Committee? That's what they look on every week is homeless issues.
Sure.
And I know the bathroom issues has been discussed in the past, but if they receive direction from the city council, the city manager, this is one of your top priorities, maybe they can hash out some solutions.
Yeah, well, that's a great idea. We would want to definitely bring them in the mix because they know more than anyone about what's going on the streets.
Yeah, I fully support the idea. I think it's a good thing to be headed toward, but you're talking about roughly $100,000 to $150,000 per unit. That's just for a single unit, for one installation. And be concerned that one place in the city, I mean, you could probably find a lot of places to put it, but, you know, trying to have the district fund, you know, that many facilities is going to be problematic. It's, you know.
well, we're going to have a pilot program and test it out. And not, you know, like I said before, there's a wide range of these things. And like this one here, San Francisco and San Jose have numbers. I mean, San Jose's got 5 of them.
Is that the one that closes the door afterwards and goes through a cleaning cycle?
Yeah.
That one.
And this is the expensive one.
Yeah.
Now, you know, there's one right here that is just like a U shape, right, like right here, and you can see your feet, you can see your head, you can't see the middle. You know, that's an inexpensive one, but it's plumbed, so you know there's everything in between too. So that's why we have to analyze every site that's going to be considered, and put the appropriate one in there, and you know, not to mention the money. I mean, we don't want to spend $150,000 on, you know, every single one of them.
So John, does that sound like a suggestion or something we can do that Scott's suggesting?
I think it's a good idea. Maybe the sequence could be, and I can initiate it with our acting city manager. Now, what we'll do is we'll present, because you go to those meetings too, right?
Yes,
Scott?
yes.
Yeah. You go every Thursday?
You know, I haven't been in the last couple of weeks, but I try to go every week, yes.
Okay. We'll get that on an agenda. The Network for Homeless Solutions and the city, Trellis, the whole group meets every Thursday at 10 a.m. If anybody ever wants to join, in conference room 1A. So I'll make sure that this gets on their agenda. And then we'll get feedback from them. And then at that point in time, I guess what we'll do is I'll send around to you all what their feedback is, and then over time, you can put it on your agenda, see if we can get some money in the budget for it, and then we'll take it from there. You know, and in terms of a timeline, realistically, we're probably looking at sometime in the first half of 2018, but it's something that we want to make sure we hear from everybody on and take our time.
I can tell you a few weeks ago, the bathroom issue with the bathroom in Lion Parks was an issue on the committee, and that was discussed, and that's when Tom decided to open the bathrooms. The committee members applauded Tom for that because it shifted the homeless people to the parks, but it shifted them away from the businesses. And when the bathrooms are closed, the businesses said they were suffering because they were going into, urinating by them. So they applauded the effort. The committee said that there needs to be restrooms in the parks. So I know that's where they're coming from. As far as what kind of restrooms, then that's the issue. Maybe we can have them help us out with.
Yeah, I mean, the issue there was the way that was created.
Yeah.
It created an encampment.
Right.
It was about 20, 25 people there. I observed that.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Right.
So I think this idea of the restrooms in the park is fine. And I actually like the idea of the restrooms in non-park areas, public property, non-park areas. Is that to me, there are places where people hang out. I just driving here today, I saw about 15 homeless people just on the road from West Side of the city here, just down major streets. And that's just, I saw them. So I mean, that's just not, that you know that if you've seen somebody, there's others too that you've not seen. And it's, I think there's a need for that. From my perspective on what that had to take into our board and having had motion second vote, I would say that I don't see any problem providing one. And it should be no problem.
The sign seems to be the problem. When you build them in park, you build multi-stalls and multi-rooms, multi-stalls, whatever. Is size the problem?
I think the problem with some of the was the actual construction. Like the materials, like compared to what Jim is showing us, what you have in the parks, the actual construction couldn't be different. You have your sink inside the facility. You have block walls. You have no access. It's dark. It's just really had become an attractive thing. And that was why the decision was made a long time ago to close it. So it's been kind of like
All these solutions are probably single use.
Right.
So I think size is the problem.
Well,
We can decide on this.
like I said, in Europe, there's thousands of them in every city. I mean,
There's only one person in the.
well,
So some-
no, there's multiple people in them. But, once again, you got to fit the type of facility to the park or wherever you're going to put it.
Well, you can porta potties would initially solve the problem. So slow down the problem of people urinating or whatever they're doing. Where do they go now? I mean, if you have no
Well,
restrooms,
they go.
you don't give them alternative.
It's going to be right there.
I think we're Alan, you had something to say, and then I think we'll move on.
Quick comment. I get that everybody needs a restroom, and if they don't have one, they're going to go somewhere. I get that. Just a question I want to throw out. I don't know that I have the answer to it, but if we can just maybe, if this goes forward, and whether it does or not, if we can look at this issue from a perspective of, is there any way to do this in a manner that helps people up and out of homelessness? And let me put it another way. If this is seen as enabling or encouraging or bringing more to Costa Mesa, I think it backfires. If it can be done, and again, I don't know that I have the answer, I'm just throwing this out there to think about it, to look at it from a perspective of if there's a way to do this in a way that's perceived or really does help people up and out somehow, instead of just enabling and bringing more, I think it's a success. If it just makes it worse, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's something
I think
to think about.
I think that's a consensus, Alan.
Okay.
I think we all think that.
One thing about that is, I thought about that is, I think that, one way to do it is to locate the restrooms around places that have services for home. So you bring them closer to where the services are. And so it can actually, like you say, actually help bring people and connect people. Anyway, I'm sorry I have to leave, but, you guys-
Thanks for,
Thank you very much.
thanks for
There's a
being.
restroom out there if you need it.
Yes.
All right,
Mike, just one other quick question.
no worries.
Jim, when you've been looking at this, the other communities around Costa Mesa, I think Beach, Valley, and Irvine, Newport, are any of those communities looking at this as a
Well, and the county,
issue?
you know, that article, well, you don't all have a copy of it, but this was in support of Todd Spitzer, who supports, you know, the outhouses to help the homeless on the Santa Ana River. So each city is, you know, some are more proactive than others, but it seems like every city's addressing it to some degree, but I can't quantify it.
Well, I was just thinking, Mike, that maybe this is a topic that ought to get brought up to ACCOC and let them sort of bring the communities together to talk about it.
I think that's a really valid suggestion.
Yeah, because I worry about becoming a magnet if we're the only ones doing it.
Yep.
And that's potentially an issue, I think, and consistent with what Alan's mentioning is, you know.
Well, we don't want to make it too comfortable for them. I mean, being quite blunt.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I like
Well-
the
It's
U-shaped
just got to
one.
be a Spartan type of thing that gets the job done, and that's it.
You could get a
Well,
Santa
if I-
Good, Jim. Al.
I'm trying to think of how to say this. Okay, so I love the idea of all the cities doing that, if we apply it equally. I think that the answer, you said you don't want, someone said they don't want to make them too comfortable. I think the real answer lies in replicating our network for homeless solutions in other cities to help people up and out. Basically, in Costa Mesa, we do reach out to the homeless individually. We have volunteers or city that go talk to them. Do you want help? And we've literally helped hundreds of people out of homelessness. A lot of the people you see are the service-resistant ones. But if other cities start to do that, and then of course if they don't want help, we have, you know, code enforcement talk to them and kind of make it a little bit uncomfortable for them, but to encourage them to get the help they need. But I think if other cities were doing that, I think the perception of us enabling would be removed.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, I know Santa Ana and Anaheim have purchased properties to help house these people. And, you know, so the bigger cities are gonna be able to do that, you know.
Different way.
Obviously, we wouldn't be in that category, but they approach it differently.
All right, let's move on. Jim, or Paul, I don't know, take the lead on item 2.
Sure.
Go for it. Go ahead.
Mesa Water District, it's been 4 or 5 years since we adjusted our rates, and we are going through a process to see if we need a new rate adjustment. And I just pulled a couple of PowerPoints from a recent presentation that we gave. And we got a nice cover sheet. But the first one after that, it really shows what the main factors are that are impacting our financials. If you look at almost all of our costs, such as labor or utilities and things like that, we're trending at or below inflation. But there are a couple of really strong economic factors out there that are impacting the budget for Mesa Water District. And the first is the rising cost of water. Mesa Water District actually purchases water to then treat and distribute to all of our citizens. And we do that through the pumping fee. It's called the replenishment assessment that we pay the Orange County Water District for every acre foot that we pump. It's called the RA, yeah, so in here we have the RA. So Orange County Water District is doing some really innovative and fantastic things to recycle 100% of all the wastewater that goes to the Orange County Sanitary District. Right now, they recycle 100 million gallons a day of wastewater and treat it and put it into the groundwater, and we're gonna bump that up to 130 million gallons a day, but that comes at a cost, which is reflected in the pump fee that we pay, which is the replenishment assessment. So in the last 3 years, the replenishment assessment that we pay has gone up 51%, and it's projected to go up another 40% over the next 5 years. Now, this is our largest cost. This is 30% of our budget. So 30% of our budget is doubling, and you know, we probably need to adjust the structure of our finances to you know, relate to that reality. And then also, like all other water districts in Orange County, you know, we pay the replenishment assessment. We also are showing reduced revenue because of the good work of everybody, right? Thanks for conserving. Congratulations, here's your reward.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel terrible about that. That's just a reality.
But, you know, so we are projecting 10% less revenue than pre-drought because of the reduced usage. So what you see is costs going up and revenue going down. And we also, our board is very keen on keeping the system maintained well and up to date and efficient. And, you know, we have $500 million of infrastructure and pipes and pumps and reservoirs and wells. And it is prudent for us to take care of things now and not push them off until there's some sort of crisis. So we've identified $36 million in capital improvements, including 2 new wells, which are going to give us more water supply and make us more reliable. So those are really the main things that are different or that have emerged since our last rate adjustment. You know, there's always a lot. I'm going to this next graph now, which has got the little bars. There's always a lot of interest from the public around rate discussion time on what efficiencies have you done, what sort of cost cutting are you doing. But our board is actually, every board meeting, they're very interested in that. And they have encouraged and authorized many things that we have done to keep our costs down. One thing the board has is a board goal to be financially strong, have a AAA credit rating from the rating agencies. And that has allowed us recently to refinance some debt and to pay down all of our unfunded liability. So we got a fantastic 1.6% interest rate, and we were actually able to save $8.9 million going forward because of the strong AAA that we have. Our board also authorized a safety program for us quite a few years ago, and it has worked out very well. We now have celebrated 4 years without a lost time accident, which is great for the district, great for the employees. There's a lot of accidents that have been avoided, and it really lessens our workmen's compensation loss and keeps our workforce productive because they're on the job every day. And then just the board also authorized a business process improvement where we're going through every one of our business processes, trying to streamline them and save money where we can. And so I think the result of a lot of that stuff is what you see in this graph here. The lower the bar, the better. This is how much money per person or per resident a water district spends to fund their operation. And this is all using data that each one of these districts has sent into the state. So we just take that data, our financial advisor takes the self-reported data and comes up with a chart here, and it all comes from your budget and your CAFR. And, basically in Orange County, water districts range from about $290 to $1,350 per person spent every year to fund the operations and capital. The average is about $600 per person, and Mesa Water District is the lowest, at less than half of that, at $290. So it's a lot of the savings we create are kind of hard to see individually, but as a group, you can see that we feel that we've done a pretty good job as far as being efficient going forward.
Where would the raise put us then?
We would still, be low. Basically, the rates, which are on the next sheet, and the only reason I have this, you might not be able to see it, but everyone's going to get a postcard, and it's going to explain the rates and how to engage the board, or how to file a formal protest if you want to. But basically, what the board is looking at is up to 5% increase per year for the next 5 years. And it hits different classes differently. For example, the average homeowner, first year increase would be 3.8%, and then 5% after that. And the average homeowner bill would go up $2.50 a month to maybe $2 a month, depending on whether you use 14 units or 12 units. So it's about $2 to $2.50 a month impact on your average resident.
And I think it's important to make a comment so that everybody understands. The rate increase actually is going on the consumable water, the water that's used. It's not going on the operational expenses. Our operational expenses aren't going up, our cost of water is going up. And so, this impact to the homeowner, the average homeowner, if they continue conserving water, or if they conserve more water, they actually can keep that cost at or below what it has been. And so because it's on the consumable product, not on the fixed rates, it's easier for the customers to take control of that cost. We hope they understand that.
And as a homeowner, it's like, oh darn, I'm gonna pay more, but I get it. As the school district, who's your biggest fan,
Correct.
that's big bucks that's gonna hit us. And we have the dilemma of having our community yell at us when we conserve water because the fields die. And then when we get, it was nice that we had assistance from above this year to keep the grass green, but it's a lot of, we pay a big water bill. We are your biggest fan. I found out during the drought.
That's true, and the city is our second biggest thing.
See, so you got between the two of us, we're going, that's a big hit.
Sigerstrom falls way far behind.
They don't have a lot of grass.
In terms of who's the bigger customer.
Hey, Paul, I have a
At
question.
intermission.
Paul?
On page 3 about your expenditures per capita.
Sure.
Does that include the infrastructure expenses that you put out?
Yes,
So we're the lowest with infrastructure.
correct.
And yet we have a bottle type system with world-class water loss.
Yeah, but the average, that's another question, is your infrastructure well maintained? And a broad measurement of that is your leak rate. The average leak rate in California is about 10 to 12% of the water doesn't make it to the customer, it leaks out of the system. Ours is 4%, which is very, very low. And it kind of shows that, we are maintaining, we are keeping the system well
What's the city of LA's?
Yeah, they make us all look good. We like to benchmark ourselves against the city of LA and Caltrans as much as possible.
Paul, you may have mentioned it, but can you briefly again tell me, I know we purchase our water from the groundwater replenishment system. So what was the main reason for the 51.4% increase over the last 3 years and the projected increase of 40%?
Yeah, so two things for them also. Their revenues are going down because the water usage is going down.
Okay.
But they have spent about $500 million on the groundwater replenishment.
So they're passing it on.
So they're passing that on. And for example, for one thing, they get $8 million a year in kind of incentive or subsidies from Metropolitan Water District for this. Next year is the last year of that. And so that has to be spread out among everybody who pumps. that $8 million, and they're going to be spending about $250 million on this last expansion, going from 100 million to 130 million gallons a day, and then that needs to be brought on. And they do a lot of stuff with the spreading grounds up in Anaheim, and so it's just it's more expensive than what we have, but it's creating new water, and it's very pure water, and it's keeping the system reliable.
I was under the impression that the cost of the groundwater replenishment water was actually less than the metropolitan water that we purchase.
It is.
Isn't that true?
It is, yeah. Mesa Water District, though, is 100% groundwater, so we don't purchase any imported water from, that comes from the Colorado River or from Northern California. We're the only agency in Orange County that is all local, and it doesn't purchase any of that water.
In the middle of all this, isn't the state law that each water district has to, water purveyor has to reduce their usage by 20% by the year 2020?
Yeah.
So that's factored into this.
Yeah.
Your water usage is not going to be that.
Right.
We achieved that.
We've already achieved that. But
I mean, you're gonna have
today's the last day of the legislature, and, there's
Oh, that's a proposed law?
No, that's existing, but there's more proposals to crank that down even more. So, yeah.
So your revenue's not gonna.
Right. An interesting thing in Orange County was we spent all this money on the groundwater replenishment system, but we were running out of wastewater during the drought because people were cutting back, and so now people, we used to fight over water. Now we're like, hey, no, that's my wastewater. People are even fighting over wastewater. So
You're going to cut back your water consumption, cut back your irrigation.
Yeah.
Use all you want inside.
Oh, yeah.
Take, because it goes to the groundwater replenishment system.
yeah, and most
Irrigation water goes to
outside.
evaporates as the atmosphere goes away.
Which brings me to the question of recycled water and use for irrigation, and it's really hard to make a strong case for that when the cost for recycled water is basically the same as potable water. I know that's the case in our other cities. I'm not familiar enough as I'm new
Right.
to what your rates are, but that's a real challenge. So what's the plan long term with regard to recycled water?
The board's plan, we are running out of wastewater, and really the least expensive way of recycling that wastewater is to have it go through the GWRS expansion. It comes out purer, it goes into the basin, everybody in the county benefits from it. Expanding the purple pipe was great, 30 years ago, but nowadays that's like a twice of the expensive way of recycling water as opposed to expanding the GWRS. So you're not going to see in any of the recycled water systems in Orange County, you're not going to see a lot of expansion of those going forward if they overlay the groundwater basin, because it's kind of the thinking has shifted away from purple pipe. You've got two sets of pipe in the streets, both that are aging and need to be updated. Let's just put it through the GWRS.
And that kind of goes back to what I was saying before. If you use it indoors, it goes back to the GWRS. If you put the recycled water on the ground, it's never coming back to the GWRS. So
Take a longer shower and don't water the
water your
grass.
plants less, get the drought tolerant grass, whatever you need to do. That's the pretty way I see it.
Actually, in about 5 years, when they bring this new expansion to 130 million gallons a day online, they'll be recycling almost 100% of the wastewater for drinking water purposes. And so that really doesn't leave anything for recycling. The more that's used in the recycling program means there's less potable water for people to drink and use. And so, today, the highest and best use is to recycle the water from GWRS and put it back into the groundwater basin, rather than recycling it to spread on grass and turf and so forth.
Are they still using recycled water at the Christmas golf course?
They are.
They are.
And they're gonna continue using that, because it's, if you look at our proposed table of rates, even though the dollar cost per acre foot of the new, because the average dollar cost per acre foot is sort of artificially low in Orange County Water District, it's going like next year, or this year, just almost more than doubled it, and then it's gonna keep going up, so instead of being $354 an acre foot, like $714 an acre foot, but because it's just a pass-through, we take the water and pass it through, it's very low administrative cost. So our rate for that recycled water is still lower than the rate for the potable water.
And the city pays that bill.
I believe so, yeah. Or the company that.
Yeah, we,
they run it.
basically partners.
Do they pay the bill or?
They actually pay the bill. I don't know if the city, I'm sure reimburses them somehow.
Yeah, that's curious.
Right.
I'm thinking maybe some education for the community would be helpful. And one of the reasons is when we just went through the drought, again, with our other water district, we had fields going brown, and we had parents who knew that if we hooked up to recycle, or we brought recycled in, we could keep watering, but we couldn't water with potable water.
Right.
And so they're looking at us saying, what's your issue? And then we look at doing a recycle program, and the rate's gonna be exactly the same. We're just spending a lot of money in capital that's getting us nowhere.
Yep.
So, part of our issue is our parents, they look at, our community members look and say, but it's just, that's the thing you do. It's like recycle, source separation of your waste. And, there's other ways to get to recycling, but they don't understand that we do it off-site, or you do it through the groundwater recharge system.
You say your other agency, would that happen to be the city of Newport Beach?
Yeah.
That would be it.
Yeah. And the thing is, the city of Newport Beach had a big consumption. They had a problem meeting their goal. The good burners at Costa Mesa were very voluntary. We had excellent results from that. And the truth is that since the 1970s and late 1960s, even with Irvine Ranch Water District, they have done an excellent job of advertising how good recycled water is. And they've had a 30-year run to get everybody educated on how wonderful recycled water is. And for the time and the technology available, it was a great idea. That time has passed. The highest and best use is the groundwater replenishment system to return it into potable water.
I get that. I'm just thinking
Yeah.
we could do some more.
We need to do more
Yeah.
education.
Just, we
Now
need
you've
to
got two of us to build out.
kind of need to re-educate everybody that Irvine Water District educated. Re-educate.
They did, and they also had a brand new city that was master planned. They built all parallel purple pipes.
Yeah.
City of Costa Mesa did not have that. We retrofitted it with the Green Acres project into fairly small areas to get to places like the large consumers, like the golf courses and stuff. But that was a retrofit, whereas you had a brand new city, you could build all new. It's a different system. Yeah.
All right, you want to move on to your new water system?
Yeah, and this will just take a minute here. Just of that $36 million in capital, this is kind of one project I want to highlight. We are going to be, have purchased two new properties. This is actually just outside of Costa Mesa in the city of Santa Ana. And we will be drilling two new wells, and that is going to increase the supply that we have, make us more drought-proof and more reliable. The board wants to make sure that we're using all local water and not going out to Colorado or Northern California. And this is going to assure that going forward that we'll be able to do that. So this is, we'll have these two sites and a proposed pipeline that will then connect into our system, which is just below Carson.
Do you have a problem with the city of Santa Ana doing this?
We don't. We've been talking with the city of Santa Ana during this whole time, and they were fine with us purchasing the property.
They'll take it in the pipeline.
And it's nice, it's not going down Harbor.
Which is relatively misused by comparison.
So it's a nice wide commercial street that is next to it. They do have some unique permitting things that everybody has to go through, but we'll work through those and have a good project.
So you need new wells because, is it a matter of the amount or volume you can get out of existing wells, or is it just a different location that's deeper?
Yeah.
Why do we need more wells?
Well, for one, we have an existing well that has been taken out of commission because of its age and its condition, so that well needed to be replaced. And, you know, the board does want us to be 100% local and reliable, so we are 100% local with groundwater, just barely. Every August on that, you know, we're hoping that one of our wells isn't down for maintenance or something, because then we're gonna have to bring in imported water.
So it's a backup kind of.
So it's really buffer that we need for operational flexibility. So one is to replace an existing aged well, and another one is to really make it so that we are confident that we'll always have local water.
How many wells do we have?
Yeah, 2 wells. Pardon?
How many wells do we have?
We have 5 wells that are in basically what we call the clear zone, which pumps water that you would think, nice, clear, clean water, and then 2 deep wells that go down and into a much deeper zone that has amber tinted water that has to go through our treatment plant before it's taken out. So 7 wells.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Paul, quick question. So these 2 new locations, it's in the city of Santa Ana?
Yes.
So dumb question, since it's in the city of Santa Ana, don't they have water rights? Aren't they the owner of the water rights?
No, the groundwater is an adjudicated basin, so nobody really has groundwater rights. It's a managed basin, so it's a different way of looking at things. But any agency, anybody, you in your backyard, if you live in Orange County, can drill a well and avail yourself to the
Oh,
water.
you can? I thought you
You
could
can,
not.
you can, it's just that most people don't live over a place where you could actually
Oh,
get the water.
I thought I asked that of someone a long time ago, and they said, no, you could not.
No, you could absolutely drill your
You
own well.
could, yeah.
Most likely you don't live in an area where you get the water. It's most of the people live, like, most of the Costa Mesa, closer toward the coast, you can drill and run into feet of clay, there's no water.
Yeah,
there's
all
no
our
water
wells are on the
lines.
405 or north. So if you're coastal of the 405, the ground isn't conducive for groundwater.
That's interesting.
But a well costs,
No, I-
$1 million.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so-
A municipal well, that you could drill your own 2-inch well and the water.
If you're gonna end up paying essentially the same cost that.
Yeah, I get that. It was just a question of were you allowed to? I didn't think you were.
For example, the Costa
You got us
Mesa
up on all-
visit the,
I know.
Santa Ana Country.
Oh, yeah, that's an
Oh, okay.
adjudicated
That's
basin,
cool.
and it's,
Don't worry, the vintners up in Paso Robles will figure out a way to get a pipeline from Paso Robles. They're having enough trouble up there getting water. So.
yeah, true.
Does Mesa Verde have to pay for the water they pump out?
Yes, they do. They pay.
Is that metered or something?
They meter at the well, and they pay the replenishment assessment to the Orange County Water District, and they
So
also.
you guys get nothing out of that?
No, we don't.
That's a shame.
Yeah, we get that whole thing with that is I think they also have to pay the basin equity assessment.
Yeah.
Because they pay 100%, so they pump that above that 75% basic pumping percentage, so they pay this little assessment on that, top of that. But for them, because they don't have to treat the water, it's cheap.
Yeah. All right, thank you, guys. I'm going to move on to the city. You have a pressing issue.
Actually, Paul, is this a little bit close to the groundwater, groundwater station, water, seawater treatment and destination?
Right.
This little system,
Well, actually, Orange County Water District manages the groundwater. They have a bunch of injection wells along the coast. Those are being successful in slowly pushing the seawater back towards the ocean. Yeah, right.
Newport actually goes in Fountain Valley to get their water.
Right.
And they all go inland.
Irvine Rancho, it's all their water.
Okay, am I going to go to the acting city manager for this report, or is Bart going to handle it?
You can come to me and then I'll hand it off.
Yeah, okay, Bart, go right ahead.
It was Mike.
Unless Alan wants to take the lead.
I'd like to take a few minutes to give you an update on some of our most current projects. The most important of all is the construction of the Liaison project. This is a combination of projects all lumped into one. The construction of a brand new facility that we think is going to be The best facility in the county. It's a new 20,000 square foot library with dedicated space for teens and children. With the construction of this facility, it required the demolition of the old neighborhood community center, and the combined effort yields now 1 acre open space that can be used for many uses, as well as other improvements. This is our goal is to make this a LEED Gold building. And if you can look at the architecture, I think it is going to be a landmark for Costa Mesa, one of the greatest assets. We hope to be in operation in early 2019. And construction has started, as Councilmember Stevens mentioned. The temporary fence is already in place, and we've started the demolition of the neighborhood community center. Another project.
How long is it anticipated?
For construction, it's about 1.5 years.
Okay.
So where's the airplane?
For the library, and then what
Yes, where the airplane is. I will ask that too.
Yes. So the plan is to finish the library. The current library is still in operation. So once we finish that building, we want to move the library operation to a new facility that will vacate the existing building that we're going to then repurpose into a new neighborhood community center. And that will be the next phase of construction.
Just real quick, just before, just to circle back to the initial subject of public restrooms. During this phase one, we have the downtown recreation center remains open and the library remains open, and both of those facilities have restrooms in them. So the folks that are using what's usable out there in Lions Park, there is public restrooms available, which I think is important to know.
And will the airplane go back? Oh,
The airplane remains where it is.
Okay.
That is one of the features that we're going to highlight.
can't touch airplane park.
Our next project.
Not there, too many kids.
I was there the day they actually brought it in there. We were at the park the day they brought it in there.
So you know that it's an actual.
So you know it's been around
I know
for a
it's a-
long
And I
time.
played in it when it was still a real airplane and they had covered it with. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
my kids played in it.
Used to crawl
So
on the
the
side.
question I have is, the downtown community center, and you guys, I don't want to revisit how you guys all decided what the project's going to be. The downtown community center has a certain number of square feet, certain number of meeting rooms, and certain number of functionality. Is the Duncan Library going to be able to replicate that quality or quantity of meeting space? Because it doesn't look like it.
Well, it's going to be a combination. What we did is, before we started the project, we surveyed, one, the use of the existing facility,
Okay.
and two, the users of that facility. So what we did is, we're providing meeting space within the footprint of the new library and the new repurposed building where the old library, or is currently in operation, will also be repurposed into meeting space. So combined, we're going to be able to provide the same service that we were providing before, but more efficiently.
Thank you.
Mark, is there a large room to accommodate banquets
In weddings.
and what, things like that at the new facility?
Well,
What's the capacity?
Well, the library will have a meeting space that will be large enough for special events, as well as the new repurposed building will have that capability as well.
What's the largest capacity of one of the rooms that can do that?
Within the library, I believe is 200 person occupancy, and for the new repurposed building, I believe we are at 300.
Just the whole.
Okay, that's, because I never knew that, because that was one of the things I didn't like about not tearing down the old facility, but if you have a facility like that, it'd be okay.
It would be like a theater, all around the building.
Because Wisconsin used that every year for the awards banquet.
We have a website, Lions Park Projects, with an S, projects.com, where we've got a lot of the renderings and more information.
And within that, there's a complete PowerPoint presentation that our architect presented at the joint meeting. That is great. I'm looking at that to get information for you, but you are welcome to go to the city's website and go through this PowerPoint. It has a lot of detailed information pertaining to these facilities in Lions Park.
Will that still be controlled by the city of Costa Mesa or
The,
the county?
the operation of the library, the new library, will be a partnership with the County of Orange. Library, the new library will be, the new NCC will be fully maintained and operated by the city. So construction continues, grading will follow the demolition. You're probably gonna see much out of the ground for a few months, but then this shell of the structure will begin to surface probably in about 3 or 4 months from now. That brings me to the fire station.
I was going to say, Barbara, if you do the downtown library as quickly as they're doing the fire station, it won't be a year and a half. It'll be like 2 weeks.
I know.
And they're really moving along. It looks great.
It does.
Thank you. So this new fire station, it's fire station number 1 off of Adams and
Royal Palm.
Royal Palm, yes. Is the reconstruction of the old facility. The old facility was old, almost non-functional, didn't have the storage for all the equipment. This new facility has been designed to serve the current and future needs of the city. Great architecture, and construction is well underway. We have gone vertical with the building already. You can drive on, you can see the wall. The roof is already attached to the wall, so it's beginning to take shape. You can get an idea what it's going to look like from the street. These two will be a legal facility, and it will have an on-site fueling station, a separate city emergency supply storage building, and this is the one that we use for events as well. Improved landscape, a new area, a new gathering area just to the south where you can have special events. As I mentioned, project is well under construction. Should be done about a year from now. With the right now contract is working on the wall framing and utility extension. You can't see from the street, but the walls are already out. Yes.
In the past, I used to see fire stations that have hose grinding towers. That's probably pretty much obsolete anymore. I don't see that in rendering. How do they take care of it? Fire hoses and bother grind.
Good question. Don't know. But I'll find out.
Hey, Mark?
If you
Yeah.
plan to-
Quick,
that's enough.
the entrance is an exit off onto Adams Street though.
Thanks. So we looked at circulation, and the entrance will be off of the residential street, drive through and exit out of Adams Avenue. That provides for better, faster response.
Can you control the lights there for those speeding cars that you talked about?
Part of the work is to make make signal modifications so that it allows them to exit. And it will control, it will have the ability to control the signal so it can exit without any problems.
Sounds good.
Well, it was nice for you to get more parking for the post office because people, when you go to, I use that post office almost 4 times a week, and nobody parks where they're supposed to. So that was really nice of you guys to put a big driveway right next to the entrance, so they could park there instead of going.
Very convenient working out of it.
Probably the dog park there.
Oh, yeah, good wood.
I'm just trying to figure out who goes to the post office that much anymore.
Oh,
He makes so much money.
you'd be amazed.
That's that nail deposit.
It's usually the letters I'm mailing to the Dodgers about their winning streak. Oh, wait a minute. Go ahead, Bart.
To the next project, the Arlington Drive Liaison. A great little project, probably not visible to most Costa Mesa residents right there. That, when it's complete, will create almost a 1 mile linear park. And what we are doing is the area.
But that drainage ditch that's sort of north of the
It is.
thing across the street from soil there, and that sort of ratty looking drainage ditch.
Exactly.
That you wonder why more people haven't gone into.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys are turning that into a nice walkway and bioswale.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah, this area, unimproved area between the Orange County Fairgrounds and Greenwood Park and the school district
Yeah.
will be improved. It's going to have a bioswale, and a multi-purpose trail, access from this multi-purpose trail to the north side to provide access to school children so that they can safely cross the street. This completes the route of the multi-purpose trails around the Orange County Fairgrounds. So, you have Mile Square Park, we can have our own,
Nice.
almost Mile Square, recreational, area here where you can actually go for a nice walk, safe off-street, which is the new thing that, our residents are asking for, is construct off-street bicycle and pedestrian facilities to facilitate bikeability and walkability to places. And we're seeing more and more people utilizing these facilities. Great project. It's already under construction. We waited until the Orange County Fair was over so we can start doing the construction, and we did. And the first item of work was for the Orange County Water District to relocate their big green acre plant we're talking about, reclaimed water. There's a big pipe that goes through there, and there's a storm drain that we need to construct gravity flow, which is our storm drain, cannot go up and down. So we work very closely with the Orange County Water District and MESA to relocate these facilities. It's a major undertaking. We see big construction equipment, big pipe that has been constructed. Once that is complete, then our contractor can start doing their construction. So that would be in about 1.5 months from now. At the same time, you see that another contractor has been removing all the eucalyptus trees that were along there. That is now complete, so we're ready to start.
Are they gonna add any traffic lights across from the
There
junior
is
high?
going to be a pedestrian signal halfway between Fairview and Newport to allow safe crossing for any users down on the south side to go to the north side, specifically to go to the school.
How long will this project take?
Project will take about 6 months.
That's all, yeah.
It'll be done for
It's
the
long overdue,
Very
so
Oh,
good.
yeah.
I think it looks like it left over from the Andy Armour Air Base, that drainage ditch, you know, because the federal standards for future.
It was functional back then, but every time it rains now, it blocks the entire street.
Yeah.
And it shows trees, so are you replanting?
We are, in
Yes.
fact, we are planting over 2.5 times the number of trees that we removed. And you see, and I'm glad, thanks for bringing that up. I forgot to point to the picture. It shows one of the cross sections. You see the cars, landscape and bioswale area. You have the multi-purpose trail, and then landscape buffer between the Orange County Fairgrounds and the trail. One of the things that we work very closely with both the school district and the Orange County Fairgrounds. And towards the east end of the project, that's where they have the horse stables. So we work very closely with them to move that multi-purpose trail away from the stables and provide as big of a buffer so that the horses don't get terrorized. Let's go through there, as well as improvements as we go across the different driveways that they have. There are a lot of little things that you probably didn't see, but once it is functioning, it's going to be a great, great little project.
Beautiful. Very nice.
Then you're in the trees and walking
Whatever.
I have to leave in a few minutes. I was going to ask if it's okay with everybody if I could have 60 seconds. It's not an agendized item, just a question and a comment, if that's okay.
We'll just put it in the public comments, go ahead.
Okay, well, thank you. So am I correct? I thought I saw an email that said the Sand District was going to purchase the Hitchcrafter location. Is that correct?
We are in escrow, correct.
Okay. One request. I'm just big on landscaping, and I'm sure you guys are gonna landscape the perimeter. I was just wondering, I looked at the landscaping, and I know we're big on drought tolerant, and the city is too. And I know the landscaping in front of your current location there on Wilson has a lot of rocks and some of the, I don't know, what desert looking, I guess. I was just wondering if you guys would be willing to incorporate more drought tolerant that has more color, kind of like what's on the Joanne Street Bike Trail on Harbor Boulevard, just to really beautify the area, if that's possible. I'm just big on landscaping the west. I just think the west side is so deprived of color in landscaping.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if that would be doable.
Yeah, well, we have not finalized the landscape.
No, I
plans.
get that.
So that's a great suggestion. I think we can incorporate that. Oddly enough, I'm going through some landscaping at my property in Palm Springs right now, and my contractor's saying the same thing. We can do these drought tolerant, desert style, and as soon as he said color, my wife lit up like a Christmas tree because that's what she wants to do. So I think that's all stuff that's going to help everybody. I think it's a great suggestion.
I think Joanne Street Bike Trail has a lot of good options to visually see what it would look like. But
by the way, thanks for the California Street median. It looks great.
Oh,
they just finished this week in front of my house. It looks,
yeah,
and that looks very drought tolerant in the same sort of scheme. So yeah.
Well, thank you. That's a thing.
Oh, thanks for bringing it up. That's a good suggestion for us. So, okay, SB1 is that Bart? Is that yours too?
It is me. Again.
Go ahead, buddy.
So SB1, Senate Bill 1 is the Road Repair and Accountability Act of 2017. That was passed by the legislature and signed into law by the governor in April of 2017. Essentially, it's an increase in taxes to be utilized for the improvement of infrastructure. The city estimates that we are going to be receiving approximately $650,000 in the current fiscal year. That will be utilized to rehabilitate additional streets. Specifically, we're going to be looking at the Newport Frontage Road at the south end of the city and 23rd Street from Elder to Waterman. Both together are going to be about $900,000, with most of the money coming from the new allocation from SB1. Yes?
So, a question. When are we going to pave Bristol Street? By the
It's being done. I think they're doing all the curb and gutter and all the utility work underground and all the pre-stuff that has to be done before they pave it. Because once they pave it, we don't want to disrupt it.
Okay.
And I think they started right before the fair, so they went, oops, we better stop for the next 5 weeks. And
There's a lot of work that's taking place. There are two underground facilities that we need to complete. There's a storm drain at Randolph that is under construction, and there's also this is a big project. It's a $10 million project, and we're building a small portion of that, and that is a dry weather runoff diversion pipe from the golf course going north to Baker. What we are doing as multiple agencies, the City of Newport Beach, Santa Ana, Costa Mesa, Irvine, and some districts as the funding partners for this, we're building a similar facility to what it is now at the Greenville Dam Channel, an inflatable dam, a pumping station that will pump the water upstream to Baker, and all of that would help with the Greenacre project and provide more water to be treated, so we can
Okay, so
continue
you
to
guys
get that
are
water.
doing dry weather diversion too.
Yes.
And that's part of the requirement to improve the effluent from the city. Because why are we doing that?
The reason why we are doing that is our effort to help keep the upper Newport Bay clean.
Because that's part of the Newport Bay Watershed Oversight Committee or something.
So that pipeline needs to be built, but Bristol, between an old street, has a lot of utilities underneath it. Putting a brand new facility is very challenging, so we have to weave through different existing facilities, storm drains, water lines, gas lines, and it's been challenging, the work is progressing, it's a multi-agency project. I have to work with Caltrans, so that work was on Caltrans. So all of that is taking place before we do the final paving. And even after we complete that, this project will include brand new landscape median between Baker and Newport Boulevard. And those have to be built also before we pave. So what we are doing is, I don't know if we understand the streets.
There's about 11 apps there the other day.
We are going to be paving the area north of Baker, between Baker and the 405 freeway, in about 4 weeks. That area doesn't have any underground work. We're going to be going with the landscape improvements that we proposed for the existing medians, so we can move forward with that, and that will leave the balance of the project to be done.
Thank you guys very much. I'm going to, Scott, take over with item number 9. We have a project with our utility boxes to do some art on, and
Well, this is a little.
I'd like to say, oh, you can do Calvert first.
Yeah, this is a little different. So thank you, Mr. President. So, wanted to show the committee of a project we just completed on one of our pump stations that we're very proud of because it was actually an idea from one of our employees, and it's regarding the Adams pump station, which you can see it's right here, and it's a relatively new station. It's only about 23 years old. We consider it a medium station, a medium-sized station. It pumps about 500 gallons per minute of wastewater. And it services all of the Estancia Park neighborhoods. Go to the next slide, please. This is what it looks like, if you're driving by one of the art wraps of the Adobe theme. Yes, and go to the next slide, please. So the problem we have with, or the issue we had with this pump station was 3 issues. One, when we have a power outage, it's very, we have to bring a portable generator to the station in a timely manner, otherwise we'd have a sewer overflow. So there's 3 issues with that. One, we have to close down one lane, and that can be very time consuming because we have to bring in aero boards, a couple trucks, cones, so it's very time consuming, and like I said, time is of essence to get the power back up and running. Second issue is now that we're closing one lane, we're funneling traffic into 2 lanes, and of course, motorists aren't going to be very happy with us, with doing that. And then the third reason, it's really one of the most important reasons, is it's extremely dangerous for our staff. I don't know, Bart, if you know the traffic volume, daily traffic volume on Adams, it's quite busy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, extremely busy. So especially at nighttime, so extremely dangerous for my staff. So one of my staff members had an idea. Is, okay, so the pump station's right here. Can we run a cable in this guy's backyard underground and all the way up to the Calvert, and then we could bring the generator to hook up from Calvert to power up the station. I thought that was a great idea, and so we did reach out to the property owner. He was very cooperative. He agreed to allow us to buy a temporary easement in his backyard for about $10,000, and we were successfully able to run cables underground to Calvert, and now we have capabilities of bringing generators to Calvert and hook up the station. Go to the next. Yeah, well, no, I'll show you. So this is the finished product. So this is the automatic transfer station. We'll put another art wrap here, probably more of an Adobe theme. So this is what the generator will hook up to. Next slide, please. This is the finished product. So the cables are right here underground in this person's backyard. Next slide. And this is the box on Calvert. It looks big from this picture, but I just want to tell you it's only 4 feet tall. So that's the box. So the generator we hooked up to that box. We did recently reach out to all the neighbors in the area and asked if they wanted art wrap on this box, and we gave some suggestions. Go to the next slide, please. They wanted the Adobe theme continued, so we're going to put this art wrap on the box. This is an actual power outage we occurred at this location before the project was completed, and the property owner allowed us to run cables in his backyard. So this is what it would look like if we had another power outage. But as I mentioned, it achieves the 3 objectives. It's more efficient, it does not cause any traffic congestion, and thirdly, it's a lot more safer for my staff. So the whole project costs $200,000, and that's all inclusive. That includes constructions, designs, inspections, and the easement. So very proud of that project. Yeah.
That's a win-win-win.
Yes, yeah, I was very proud, so.
Yeah, he was very cooperative, the owner of the property.
Yes, yeah, Senator, yep. Yeah. So, thank you.
Okay, let's move to item 10.
Thank you. Number 10 is, this is really just a thank you to the city of Costa Mesa. When we have to clean our main lines in heavily congested streets, we do it in the early morning hours. And we had to clean the lines on 17th and Tustin, I believe, or 7th and Irvine, yes, in Irvine. And and so the police department agreed to provide a black and white, and they would park that vehicle right behind our cleaning truck with the lights flashing. So it got people's attention to slow down, and it was great. It was a great help. So thank you for the city for assisting us on that and keeping our staff safe. So thank you. And then the third, I'm related to traffic on item number 11. Just a suggestion to the city, maybe if you want to send some traffic officers over here on Red Hill, because between Pomerino and Pullman is like Fast and Furious. The lights, when the lights turn green, they just put the pedal to the floor and just gun it. And it's pretty loud and they go very fast. So you might want to station some traffic officers over there on Pullman.
For a fundraiser?
So I'm sure you'll nab a lot of speeders. Yeah.
Well, you have to get up that hill, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get ready to go.
So just a suggestion. So that's what we have. Oh, and if you want to talk about number 12 or.
Well, the December meeting, it's at City Hall. It says CMSD, but it's at City Hall.
But we're suggesting maybe the school district, because I don't think they've hosted an event
Well,
yet.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So we were going to throw out to the school district as, joining us now for this year. If you guys want to consider hosting that, it's your office. If that's okay with you guys.
What's the date? Do you know the date?
Now around the middle of December.
It hasn't been dated yet?
December 15th. Is that a Friday? But that is a Friday.
No, we have December.
You guys still have one more week before school's out, so.
Oh, gosh, we always go till the end of whatever. As far as, we just have to check our calendar and make sure that
Yeah.
that's not the all-staff Christmas luncheon thing, or there's a major, at this time in the morning, we're usually pretty safe, but.
If you have a conflict, maybe let Scott know and then we could go.
Well, then it would be on the city.
So did I hear that correctly? If it's currently scheduled?
Currently scheduled with you guys, but if the school district wants to take it, we'll push you guys later into next year, or whatever.
We'll find out.
That'd be great.
We'll have our people talk to your people.
These two. Okay, if there's nothing, public comment, is there? Luke, did you want to say anything? You're the only public that's really here. All right, thank you all. Very productive morning. Thank you so much.